Okay, so did anybody get any value out of the exercise? This is where hopefully a couple people can be honest and make the facilitation team feel okay about what they put you through.
Okay. I might never give it back, but I totally will. I feel like something I got out of the exercise, which actually I broke and I joined theirs because I had left for a minute, but was the need to, sort of the realization about sort of taking that deep breath and being more focused in the moment. When I think about like what I would have done differently in the conversation was sort of stop partway into the conversation instead and then approach it differently. And that's what I picked up from our conversation just now about when I was trying to even explain what happened.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's a reminder of the need to be focused and present. Gotcha. Anybody else got any value out of the conversation worth lifting up? Out of the exercise, rather. Okay.
I feel like it was valuable, thinking about the question, because immediately after I recounted my experience, I wanted to tell them, oh, and here's why that was wrong. Like, I didn't want to ask them a question. I immediately wanted to be like, and that was racist. And so it was helpful to have to pause and be like, oh, I have to ask you about your experiences. And it was like kind of an awkward phrasing, so then it was the breath and like, what's the phrase of the question that I want to be asking you? So anyway, it was helpful to like think about planning out the conversation a little bit in advance instead of just reacting into what I feel like I want to say.
When you try these methods, you will do better the 5th time than the first time, and better the 20th time than the 5th time. Like anything else, right? This is a different way of approaching this kind of conversation with somebody you disagree with. So it's not shocking that it was uncomfortable, and it will be uncomfortable when you're actually talking to the actual person the first time you do that. But if you can make a practice out of rebooting these difficult conversations, and a lot of y'all have more than one person that you might want to do that with, it will become easier the more that you do it. Any final additional comments before we move forward? Sure.
So I want to represent the conflict averse among us. And if any of y'all know the Enneagram personality tool, I am a 9, like just conflict averse to my core. I fully believe in this project, but it is hard for me to do. So I wanted to kind of address the comment that this brought up, that this was triggering, and say for me, part of the invitation is you're not supposed to be subjecting yourself to abuse or to people who make you feel bad about who you are, or situations that are just too challenging. And part of the reflect is, who are these relationships where I feel like it's worth it for me to connect and try to not let these areas of disagreement be off the table. And I think that's an important distinction that we need to think about. And for me, the discernment is, all right, I probably step back too much and avoid too much. I probably need to step up a little bit more. For some of y'all, it might be a different kind of discernment, but that's part of the self-awareness, is thinking about who am I. And also, I don't want to do it, since I stepped out for a bit, David tells the story. I went to the White Privilege Conference, and one of the workshops was, you can't unfriend everyone. Right? And so I think that's part of the challenge, is if we think about this from a social change perspective, we can't all just disengage from the people we disagree with and expect change to happen. That doesn't mean that every single one of you has to go and talk to the most hardcore triggering racist that you know in order to do this. So that's part of the discernment that I think is really important, and I just want to lift up. For me, personality-wise, this is challenging, but I also think it's important, and that I need to learn how to do some of these things.
Thanks. Okay, so let us move forward.